Welcome, Cyclone fans, to the latest edition of the Nightcap. I'm your host / child producer, Aiden Wyatt, joined by the other only co-host tonight, Levi Stevenson.
Yeah, it's all right. We're in a bit of a skeleton crew tonight because Matthias still selling propane. I think that's what he's doing. And then, yep. And then Josh he's taking his kids swim lessons or something like that. Yeah,
just the fellas.
Yeah. Skeleton crew plus Coco's back here making chaos. They're doing something, I don't know. But goddamn Coco. All right. Anyways, all right, Aiden, what are we talking about today?
I think we need to talk about. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
because we haven't had a show for a couple weeks, so just to recap.
Oh my God,
Texas, we beat them by a lot. West Virginia loss sucked. Texas Tech loss also sucked. Let's talk Oklahoma.
Fair enough. Yeah. And basketball being fun again, which is great. Because
speaking of fun, where I go for fun, Levi?
Is it a Stoss Bar and Grill? Nice. It was great transition. Perfect.
Shout out to our sponsors, the Stoss Bar and Grill. Go downtown, well, not downtown Ames, but go to Ames and get some tacos and whatever else you need. That's it. All right, let's get into things.
11 to 3 unlimited taco bar every day for $8. Game watch. They have they got specials for it's fine. They got specials on game days, whether we're home or away. Burger Wednesday, Taco Tuesday, all that good stuff. FAC specials after class on Friday. It's a good place.
I'm actually living behind a Stoss next year, so maybe
in the alleyway.
No, just in the apartments behind it.
You're just gonna be a Grinch just living in a trash can. To hey, you want to hear about Mitch Trubisky?
Tacos and Trubisky. All you need to
know. The Grinch Trubisky, or Oscar the Grouch. Anyways, should we talk about we probably should talk a little bit about the Texas Tech game. I don't know how much there is to talk about left though, because it's already been talked about to death on Twitter and shit like that or whatever. It sucked. We got to slow start.
Fans were especially interested.
Kansas State fans were more interested in the result than either Iowa State or Texas Tech fans were. And I got into it.
I think that might be the first. I need a fact check here, but that might be the first time anyone has ever stormed the field against Iowa State.
It's got to be. It might be. We might need
more than 3.
Yeah, we might need a good fact check on that one if anyone's got some extra internet available, or I wouldn't even know how to find that. But this would be a good Jared Larson question, or whatever. He could help us out with that one. But someone stormed the field against Iowa State. So times they are changing.
Have we made it? People are asking.
Yeah, people are asking. It was a tough game though. A slow start. I was personally I knew when they were down 17 and a half, and it was ugly. I knew that they weren't out of it. I knew we had a shot to come back. Just because Iowa State's always been a second half team. Texas Tech has always kind of been a first half team. They've always come out hot and then fallen apart late, kind of like Texas. So I knew they did. I knew they weren't out of it, but it still felt like they were out of it. In the moment, I was like, yeah, this shit's over.
Right.
So I don't know. They fought back though, and I was pretty happy with that. I was pretty proud of that. The offense was much better in the second half, even though they still couldn't run the ball. But I don't know. They basically just told Brock Purdy to go out and try to win a football game, and he damn near did it.
He fucked around and
almost did it. So one thing I did want to address a little bit was I've seen a lot of Texas Tech fans complaining about the officiating, and Texas Tech fans, we're Iowa State fans. We are well acquainted with bad officiating. That's not a new concept for us. So we get it, totally get it. But I guess looking back on it though, I didn't think there was any call on the field that they got explicitly wrong.
The only thing was Charlie Kolar had a catch that if would have been ruled an interception on the field, would have been reviewed and called an interception. But luckily, the ghost of Marchie Murdoch saved us.
Right. Well, and I think they made the right call on the field though too, because simultaneous possession goes to the receiver. Charlie had possession first, and he had it at the end once they were both on the ground. So I mean, there is a rule that governs who should get possession there.
Right.
And there was never, if you watch that whole replay, there's never a spot where it looks like Charlie loses possession. It looks like he's got possession the whole time, and the corner also eventually like gets kind of a little bit of possession on it.
It was just, for me, it was one of those where it's like, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
Then, you know.
And then it worked out, but like there was a few other ones though, like that I saw them kind of complaining about a little bit too, like the interception that went to Iowa State that like it was a rule that he wasn't down or anything like that went to Iowa State, and there was the other one that Tech picked off and then it was ruled an incompletion. I mean, when you went back and look at the tape, it looked like they made the right call. Like it looked like the Tech guy hit the ground. I mean, it did. It did. I mean, that was an incompletion. And the first one, it looked very much like it. Like he had possession and lost. Yeah, it looked like he never had control. I thought that I get it. I get the frustration when all of them keep getting overturned against you. So I do want to say I see we have a YouTube commenter that's just dishing out all sorts of comments here. I want to acknowledge him for ISU home game highlights. He's got lots of comments in here, and he's got some good questions too that we will definitely get to here. But hey, so I get the frustration that they were going. A lot of them did go against Texas Tech. I get it. I 100% understand that frustration. But in the end, the objective of those officiating reviews is not to even out the officiating and give this many to this team and give the same out to the other team. That's not the purpose of it. The purpose is to get the correct call. And I look back in those and I don't see any of them that were reviewed that I thought, oh, they made the wrong call.
Yeah, and I think we'll be the first to admit that maybe a specific play in the Oklahoma State game might not have been correct. We'll never know if it was or not.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
But I feel like they did pretty well this weekend, and we've seen a lot of calls not go our way recently,
right?
And a lot in the past. And I think this was probably a better weekend of officiating that we've seen in a while.
They fixed their mistakes, which I was happy about. I know it may not seem like that from the Texas Tech perspective, and again, I understand that. Yeah. But I don't think you could go back and look at the plays they did overturn or that they held up. I don't think you could go back and look at them and be like, oh, they definitely didn't get that call right. I mean,
right.
Either it was like, yeah, it probably should just stand because we can't really tell, or they got the call right.
Which a lot of the times it was
right.
Hands.
Right. And they didn't really confirm hardly anything.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, if I were Tech fans, I'd just be happy with the win, happy with the ridiculous walk-off field goal.
Unbelievable kick.
I mean, like at that point, like, what do you do? Like, what can you even do? Like, I mean, like, you would take your chance. It was like 48 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I
was thinking, no way.
I mean, like 62 is long. I mean, what Justin Tucker hit a 66 or whatever it was against the Lions, but that was like, I mean, he's the greatest kicker that has ever walked this earth or whatever. Like, he's not some dude from Texas Tech.
If an NFL team walks out to kick a field goal from
62,
the other half of the 50, you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, and they have professional kickers, or whatever.
Guys were getting paid millions to do that.
Right? There's like 2 kickers in this entire planet that you're like, okay, that's fine, they can kick that.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker is one, and that there might be another one that I can't name off the top of my head, but definitely Justin Tucker is the one that you're like 60. All right, let's just try it, or whatever. Or like when he was with the Raiders, Sebastian Janikowski was one that you could take long field goals with, but.
Maybe not a 75-yarder in the win, but
right, yeah.
Lane Kiffin learned his lesson there.
Yeah. But if you're Iowa State, if you're any team, or if you're Iowa State and you're in your situation is you can try to do something, or you let them take a 62-yard field goal at the buzzer or whatever, you kind of like your chances on that most of the time. I mean, the odds of them making that are like really small. Now, like,
would have been good from 70.
He smoked it. I mean, it was a no doubt field goal. I mean, it was down the center, or well, kind of a little off to the right, but it would always look like it was going in. It looked like it was long enough the whole way. Like, it was a perfect. He hit that thing perfect, or whatever. Now, I will say one minor grievance I do have is that Iowa State only rushed 3 people to try to block that field goal.
Yeah,
I do not know why. And they had Jalen Noel back, and they had 3 people rush, and everyone else just sat back in a safe to not get beat by a fake, which I get, because getting beat by a fake would suck there. But also there was like 3 seconds left, so they would have had to convert a fake field goal for like 50 something yards.
Maybe they practiced it before, and they decided that's our best way to set up for a return on a field goal. I assume they practiced it before.
I would assume, but
for setting up for a field goal return. But
I mean, again, I'm not a college football coach, so but like that's been a grievance of mine, like on punts and stuff like that too, is them not going after the punter, not like either not trying to set up a return or not trying to block it, but just playing this weird like safe man type thing where they don't really do either or whatever. Like playing that weird middle ground doesn't. I don't know. It seems like you're punting on your opportunity to win some field position back, and I don't know. That part always bothers me. The excessively conservative special teams, but whatever. I don't know. But was it this game that Tech had a long punt return too? They had a longer punt return. Or was it? Or maybe am I thinking of the Texas game? I don't know. It's been a couple weeks since we've done this show now. Yeah. But I think it was Tech maybe that had, because it was like special teams have been good for a few weeks, and actually been kind of almost a net positive for a few weeks, especially with Mevis. But then there was I think they had Tech had a decent punt return last week, and then I was like, Of course, on this day, like when the offense is shit, the defense isn't doing anything, and now the special teams is collapsing too. So it's. I don't know. That was tough to watch, and it hurt. The loss hurt too, because I mean that made the odds of making a Big 12 title. I mean, reduce them down pretty dramatically. Yeah. Where there's like one scenario. There's like 2 scenarios where Iowa State could technically make it in, but they have to win out no matter what, and they need help from Kansas State. And there's another one where they like. OU and Oklahoma State like split or something like I don't know exactly how that other one works, but basically the other one is Iowa State wins out and Kansas State wins out.
Right.
So I don't know, but as far as I think as far as most Iowa State fans are concerned, it basically ended any chance of getting to Arlington, which hurts.
That's a good segue into people overreacting to what Matt Campbell.
Oh my God. Let's go through
it. Nothing makes me more mad than Matt Campbell saying something and then people just being like, why do people think he's a good coach? He's a good coach because of what he just said.
Okay, so anybody that's not privy to this somehow, so what it was is Matt Campbell said, I have to find the exact quote, but basically he essentially said that winning the Big 12 was never a goal that he ever publicly stated. Like that was never Matt Campbell's goal. That was not my goal or whatever, was to win a Big 12 title. It was my goal is always to get this team to the best that they can be. Do players have the goal of winning the Big 12 title? Sure.
The point of saying I want to get my players to be the best that they can be. That means when they're at their best, a championship will come.
Right.
Whether it's meant to be or not.
And that's in the fundamental misunderstanding is that many people and many fan bases, many fans, media pundits are all, because they what they can write about and what they can talk about is results. So they're result driven. But Matt Campbell is process driven. So he's a believer that you don't need tangible goals to shoot for. You don't need milestones. If you take care of your business every single day, eventually those results will come later down the line. But your focus is not on we're going to win a Big 12 title. Your focus is on what am I going to do today to quote unquote win the day, to win that drill, to have a good day of practice, to eat well and do all that stuff, to do all the little things you need to do every single day that eventually add up into those good results.
And I've been a part of high school locker rooms, not any college locker rooms, and it's not too much different. But I've been in good locker rooms, and I've been in toxic locker rooms, and all the good ones have never had a championship in mind.
Right.
You hear Nick Saban mention all the time that
Nick Saban is a process-driven guy. Yep.
He says all my championship teams have one thing in common: their goal is not to win a championship. It just kind of happens.
It happens because their focus is to do what they're supposed to do.
Yep, every single day, and
you'll never hear Nick Saban say our goal is to win an SEC title or our goal was to win a national title.
Right.
You'll never hear him say that because that's not how they work, and that's not how Matt Campbell works. That's not how Nick Saban works. That's not how Bill Belichick works. That's not how
coach works.
That's not how good coach. That's not how there's plenty of good coaches that are results driven, but the best ones seem to be process driven. That they say if we do our business every single day, then that's how we're going to get there. And because media is so results driven, because you can only really write about results. They can't really write about what's going on behind closed doors, what's going on in closed practices, because they can't see it, so there's nothing to write about. Right. So the media is inherently going to think in a results driven mindset and a results driven philosophy. So when you have that, they only think that way. So when Matt Campbell says, my goal isn't to win a Big 12 title, my goal is to make this team the best they can be, what they hear is, oh, Matt Campbell doesn't care about winning a Big 12 title, which is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Like if you tell me that Matt Campbell doesn't care about winning a championship, of course he cares about winning.
That's obviously he cares about winning football games and winning championships. He said that in his introductory press conference 6 years ago or 5 years ago or however long it was.
In the post-game speech against TCU when we beat him in 2017.
Yeah, he talked about the process.
He said, society says screw process. I want instant gratification.
Yeah.
And here we are. 4 years later,
we have 6 years of evidence in locker room speeches and vague press conferences to show that he will not bend and he will not deviate from his process-driven mentality because part of the process-driven thing is that you can't deviate from that. You have to take care of your business every single day, and if you deviate, you're not doing that. And results-driven people, you deviate and then you get in trouble or whatever, and maybe you bring yourself back. But process-driven people and process-driven and philosophies, whatever it is, they have to be on the ball every single day. And that's why Matt Campbell has not changed his tune one bit in 6 years. He has said you can pull up a press conference from 2017 and play it after a game this year, and nobody would notice because it'd be the same thing. like if Iowa State beats TCU next week, you could take the speech from the 2017 game and play it afterwards. Like, yeah, that checks out. Like the only reason you would notice is because there's different uniforms in the locker room. like the quotes wouldn't look any different.
And the thing is, too, you notice his players say stuff similar to him.
Exactly. They all parrot the same thing.
Right. So it's not.
And it's not parroting. It's not parroting for the sake of this is what they have to do. It's they genuinely believe that, and that's how this all works.
Right.
I don't know. There's a fundamental misunderstanding of Matt Campbell and how he works. Like everyone thinks Nick Saban's like this crazy guy. Like he's crazy. He's super respected or this, but they also kind of think he's kind of a little bit nuts or whatever because he's just kind of weird and he has like some weird press conferences and he's always like. Matt Campbell and Nick Saban are very similar in that, I don't know if you remember, it was after...
Hold on. Just to clarify, you are not comparing Matt Campbell to Nick Saban.
Not results-wise, coaching style, yeah. It's just like when someone does like an NFL player comp. If I say that Brock Purdy is a lot like Russell Wilson, I'm not saying he's fucking Russell Wilson. I'm saying he plays like Russell Wilson.
Just thought we should clear that up.
Right. but they're very similar in how they approach everything. Like I can't remember exactly when it was, but Nick Saban, they were up by like 4 touchdowns going into halftime of some game, and the reporter comes up or whatever. He's like, "How's it going?" And Nick Saban's like, "Oh, our defense is shit. Our special teams is shit. We're gonna get out there." Like, that's because like Nick Saban isn't worried about winning the game. He's worried about making sure his team is doing what they need to do. And everybody looked at that clip and was like, "This dude's crazy," or whatever. Like, his team's up by 4 touchdowns. Why is he complaining?
It takes a little crazy.
Right, and it's like, and yeah, sometimes it does take a little crazy, but like, he's also got a method to his madness. There's a reason that 4 touchdowns down. There's a reason he's still harping on that,
right.
And like, he's not talking about, the only time that Nick Saban's ever like, "Oh man, the guys were awesome," or whatever. Like, the only time he's ever really like that is like after they win the national title and there's no game like right after that. But he's still talking about, it's like, well, next week I get back to work and start watching film again. So it's like, the process-driven thinking and process-driven and process-driven things are kind of such a foreign concept to media and to a lot of fans too that are used to just paying attention to wins and losses and looking at yardage and stuff like that, where it's really tangible, objective things.
I think it is. It might have something to do with Iowa State fans being like, "That's just what he does."
That's what he does. We've watched him so much.
Is like, "Oh, this guy is such a bad coach. Doesn't care about winning at all, championships, whatever." But we've seen the process from the beginning,
right?
And to just quit on the process now makes no sense,
right? And that's the thing, is that I think I even tweeted out. I said that there's a difference in how Iowa State media and how regional and national media cover Matt Campbell and Iowa State, because Iowa State media sees him and they talk to him every day or like every week or whatever. They extremely regularly. We've been following him since day one, and we've heard every single thing he's ever said, and we've analyzed it and talked about it and everything. And you have regional and national media that kind of like, they'll tune in and grab sound clips here and there, and that's what it is. Iowa State media, generally speaking, is very careful to make assumptions about what's going on or how or to jump to conclusions about Matt Campbell, because they know that, one, in press conferences, he ain't giving you shit. Like, he's gonna give you coach platitudes and whatever else. Like, we understand that, like, he's gonna tell you, he's gonna give you his normal Matt Campbell quotes every single week, and that's just
who hears it.
Right, and that's just what it's gonna be, or whatever. We understand that, where nobody's jumping to conclusion, no one's making assumptions or anything like that. But then you have the regional and national media that flies at this really high elevation, and they come in and they say one soundbite, and they're like, "Matt Campbell doesn't care about winning," and all of a sudden now they claim to know all these intricacies about how Matt Campbell's brain works and how the Iowa State football program works. So it's like, they pay attention to Iowa State football like 3 times a year, or whatever. Like, if the people that watch and cover Iowa State really deeply are doing one thing, and the regional and national media are doing a different thing, and they have 2 totally different tones and 2 totally different conversations about something, there's a disconnect there, and that should raise a red flag for the one that doesn't cover Iowa State extremely closely.
And I think it was Barstool put out an article, and it was titled like, "Matt Campbell doesn't care about winning championships," and then it had this big long article saying, "I feel bad for Iowa State fans who have to deal with this." And I can guarantee,
and we're like, "I'm happy to deal with this, man." Like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, give me all of this.
Like, you cannot tell me there's a guy who cares more than Matt Campbell, because that's just simply not true.
Yeah.
And because, it makes me think of after we beat Texas last year, and on the field during his post-game interview with ESPN, he started crying because of how much he loved his players.
Right.
And how happy he was for their success.
Like,
not even his own success, his players' success.
You know what kind of coaches are results driven? Bullshit coaches.
That's what Matt Campbell would say.
That's what Matt Campbell would say. He's like, bullshit coaches are driven by results. Bullshit teams care about 6 and 6 and going bowl. Bullshit teams care about 6 and 6, and bullshit teams care about going to bowl games, because those are results driven. Okay, now I'm making the connection again. I'm reconnecting things here now too. Like, that's not just
all connects.
Right. Like, that quote is not just a bullshit teams care about it because we're going to do better than that. It's not just a we're going to do better than that type of thing. It is him saying, fuck that. We're not setting these rigid milestones like, oh, we get to 6 and 6 and we're done. That's not how Matt Campbell works. That's not how process driven thinking works. That's not how any of this works. God, I love Matt Campbell. It's fantastic. Like, it's like everything he says.
Hey, you know what? If this helps for no one else to want him, So be it.
Fine. If no other program or NFL team in America thinks that Matt Campbell likes winning, fine.
Yep.
I don't care. And you know who else super doesn't give a shit? Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell does not care if you think that he doesn't care about winning. And that's the long and short of it. Is just he's so consistent with everything. He's so consistently vague, but his vague quotes still say the same thing every time.
Yeah, it's not like he just woke up yesterday morning and just made this shit up.
Right. He's not covering his ass for a season that didn't necessarily go as everybody thought. Whatever, like he's not covering his ass. That's not what Matt Campbell does. He's the first one to take blame for anything. Like he'll be like, "Oh, there's a snap that went over somebody's head. That's on me first, and then we'll talk to the long. Then we'll figure out something." That's like, well, no, the snapper fucked it up. Like it's objectively just him. He just sent it over the quarterback's head. You had nothing to do with this. And he's like, "No, that goes back to me."
This is a pro long snapping podcast, by the way.
yes, we are very pro long snapper. Speaking of Connor Guess, yes, wonderful back kick athlete of ours. Yes, very pro long snapper show. But that's the point is that Matt Campbell is the first one to take blame for anything. They're like the last person in the world that would be deflecting responsibility or covering his ass is Matt Campbell. He just doesn't do that, and we have a mountain of evidence and a mountain of interview quotes and everything. And that's go ahead.
Another thing to add to your point, where he's the first to blame for everything. We didn't really talk about the West Virginia game much, but I came into it kind of expecting a Paul Rhodes against Texas explosion in the post-game interview. I don't remember that.
Oh yeah.
And
he's like, "Now we fucked up."
Kind of like, yeah, that's on us. Shouldn't get in the position to
let
them decide.
Right. And he like nothing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the rest of us were losing our damn minds.
Yeah.
But but he was cool as a cucumber. He's never once. He's like, I don't care about he always says like, I don't care about the officiating. We shouldn't have been in the position to put ourselves, which I get. I also don't 100% philosophically believe, because I do believe you should have the ability to play a close game and not have it get fucked by a ref. But different point. That's why I'm a fan and not a college football coach.
Point being, it's a little different in the past than when we had Paul Rhodes and expected.
Yeah, I love Paul Rhodes' motion. Great dude. Love Paul Rhodes. Love Paul Rhodes. Matt Campbell's a different guy, and that's fine too.
Yep.
And it's working. And as far as I'm concerned, it. Oh my god, that comment fucking sent me. But yeah. I lost my train of thought entirely. Basically, Matt Campbell knows what he's doing, and if you're a national media person questioning whether he whether he wants to win football games, you're dumb.
Maybe we should just reverse it. Spin zone. He hates winning.
He hates winning. He hates winning. Never hire him. Yeah. Nobody touch him. Nobody hire him. He's worthless. Don't ever hire Matt Campbell to be your football coach. Anyways, but that was yesterday and today's debacle, which is just the dumbest thing. Matthias. All right. Do we want to talk about this weekend, about the Oklahoma game?
Sure. Where should we start?
Do it. Oh, I don't know. Probably with the
quarterback this weekend. Do we know?
For us?
No, for OU.
Oh, I feel like I know ours.
I think Brock.
I would assume Brock Purdy. No, I guess I have no reason to believe it isn't Caleb Williams.
Right.
I mean, Spencer Rattler came in relief, but I don't see any reason to believe that he's taking back over. I think they still want to ride Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm. And before we get started on Iowa State versus Oklahoma, Baylor and Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley was kind of a little bitch.
Kind of and a little. He was a huge bitch after that game. I'm sorry. Just earlier this season, Oklahoma beat Western Carolina 76-0. 76-0. And he's sitting here bitching about Baylor kicking a field goal to move it from 10-13. Get fucked, Lincoln Riley. Go eat your burnt ass brisket. I'm sorry. I have nothing there.
I saw someone say maybe Lincoln Riley go to LSU for the food. And I was like, he's definitely not interested in food.
He's definitely not going for the food.
Yeah.
Burn the shit out of it. He'd go get like some blackened Cajun food, and he'd be like, "What the?" He's like, "Oh, this is burnt, awesome." And he'd bite into it, and it'd still be juicy and flavorful. Like, what the hell is this?
You forgot
Soggy. Like you didn't cook it long enough.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I do kind of see his point. I mean, Baylor called a timeout to kick a field goal, but part of me is also like Oklahoma ruined the Big 12, and
Yeah.
I'll
be honest. I don't like. I'm so checked out on like anything Oklahoma said. Like, I don't care what Lincoln Riley has to say about the officiating or
Nope,
sportsmanship.
not at all.
I don't care at all what Lincoln Riley has to say. It's not like I don't think he's like a bad dude, and he seems like I respect him as a coach, but
Right.
I don't care what you have to say about the conference at this point in time,
Yeah.
or anybody in this conference.
Exactly.
Like you are here on like you're just here. You are an unwanted house guest at this point in time,
And
and
his counterpart, Dave Aranda, is I think he's kind of similar to Matt Campbell, so he's
Yeah.
pretty likable. And
yeah, I would agree.
take him in this fight 10 times out of 10.
Oh yeah, he's easily the more likable guy.
You know what's a result-driven program? Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is a result-driven program because they just lost their fucking minds after losing one game last week.
They have to be the only team in college football history to have a Heisman contender quarterback at the beginning of the season, root for his backup. Backup comes in, Heisman contender. They root for his backup to come back in.
Who was the first Heisman contender
the
that
first
also
Heisman
got benched? Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't decide which one they want, but it's
Or
not the
which
one
they
that's
don't
playing.
want. Yeah.
They don't know which one they want, but it's definitely not the one that's currently playing. That's the one they don't want. And I don't like their run game sucks because they've only got like 2 scholarship running backs anymore. So the running game sucks. They like if Caleb Williams isn't like making crazy plays with his legs, they like nobody's scared of them. Like I don't. Oklahoma is this big, is the most obvious paper tiger I've ever seen in this conference. Like if you punch them in the mouth, they cannot and will not respond. They will crumble to the ground. And if Caleb Williams isn't just scrambling around and making plays with his legs, they've got nothing. Like they don't do anything. The defense isn't that good. Like I'm sorry. Like I understand that they're 9-1 or 10-1 or whatever. Like 9-1, but like. That is like the most unstable 9-1 I've ever seen. Like they haven't looked even like a top.
I think.
Like oh yeah, absolutely. Like they've barely looked like a top 25 team all year, much less a top 10 team. Like I'm sorry, they're just not that good. They're not.
But credit to them, they've been better than 9 of the 10 teams they've played on the given days. So.
That they have 100%. I mean, they should have lost to Texas. They should have lost to Kansas. They should have lost to Kansas. Like,
God, that would have been awesome.
Oh my God, Kansas taking down Oklahoma. Oklahoma only beat Oklahoma and Texas. Incredible. But like, I'm sorry. I have respect for Oklahoma as a football program. This particular team, I just don't, because I think they're a bunch they're not remotely physical. They're nothing, and like nobody is scared of Oklahoma. Like every single team that lines up against Oklahoma believes that if you are physical with them and you punch them in the mouth, they will crumble and fall to the ground. Like everybody believes that. You look at the tape and it pans out. Nobody is scared of Oklahoma, even at Oklahoma. I don't know what the line is for this weekend, but like,
I think it's 3.5.
3.5. Like, okay, that should tell you what you need to know. 9-1 Oklahoma, 9-1 top 10 Oklahoma at home is a 3.5 point favorite over 6-4 Iowa State that is having an objectively like underperforming
Honestly,
season.
They normally give like 1.5 to home field advantage.
Right, like that's darn near a push for two teams that the records are entirely different, and one is definitely underperforming to what we thought, and one is just this fake ass 9-1 that nobody actually believes in.
Some would say.
So here's a question: bigger fake ID this season, Iowa or Oklahoma?
Ooh,
I think I know who I'm going to say, but
hate to say it, but it might be Oklahoma.
there's a good argument for it. They haven't been impressive in any of their games, except for the 76-0 win over Western Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna say Iowa just because they are like the most overranked team I've ever seen in my life.
They are definitely overranked, but they've at least beaten Penn State, I guess.
They have like some redeeming qualities, and like their defense is really good, and like Torrey Taylor is unbelievable or whatever like that. Like, so they have redeeming qualities. Like people like Iowa's offense is incredibly bad, but their defense is really good. Their special teams is good. Like right. I would trade our special teams for Iowa special teams right now. Like I wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Like I love Andrew Mevis, but if I had to switch the whole special teams, I'm taking Iowa special teams. I just am. I'm sorry. But like there's no part of Oklahoma that I would be like, yeah, I'll switch them. Like, yeah, I mean, there's maybe specific position players that I would switch out, but like not whole units. I don't think. I'm not scared of Oklahoma. I mean, do I think we're gonna like blow them out or that we're gonna win? I don't know, but like
probably not just because that's the way it is. But.
Yeah, right. But like I'm not scared of them. Like even this underperforming Iowa State team, I still think has a really good shot of beating Oklahoma this weekend.
Yep,
100%.
Probably our best shot to beat them on the road since ever.
Yep. Yeah, basically. As far as a game that you would expect them to have a decent shot to win in, because like 2019, I think we thought we had a pretty good shot to beat them.
Yeah.
They didn't, or they got really close. But I think this one feels even like we've got a good shot at this.
Yeah.
More so than 2019 did. We've got a good question here from John Burke. Which ISU road team is going to show up this weekend? That's okay. I have a theory though. I have a theory that I think we're going to see a really good Iowa State team this weekend because I think it's kind of the team that it follows the similar logic path to Texas to the old fire your coach to win the next game kind of thing, where Iowa State just got punched in the mouth and everybody's telling it. Everybody from the outside is saying their season's a waste, it's over, it doesn't matter anymore, why keep playing, all this kind of stuff. But that's not how they think inside the program at all. That's not how anybody thinks.
I think it was Chase Allen that they came out with.
Yeah, he actually said, "Is like we've got a lot to play for."
Yeah.
So
we've gone to a Big 12 championship once.
It's like I think Oklahoma is teetering on like a mental collapse where they realize that they're on really unstable soil right now. That whole deal seems really unstable to me. Whereas while Iowa State has underperformed on the field a little bit, there is no question in my mind that the foundation and the culture at Iowa State is still very solid. No question whatsoever. So I think you're going to see a team. I think you're going to see an Iowa State team that's more motivated than Oklahoma. I think you're going to see one that's more mentally solid than Oklahoma. So I think we're going to see a team that is truly playing with nothing left to lose. That's going out there saying, I mean, they're already in a bowl game, which bullshit teams care about bowl games, all that, whatever. But like, they already know that they're going to play a postseason game. They already know that, and they know that if they win out, they can make it in. But nobody's really expecting them to, and it's still a little bit of a climb to get there. So it's truly a backs against the wall. Like, there's really nothing left to lose here. Just go out and play your ass off. They've got two regular season games left in the careers of a lot of these guys, and then plus one bowl game, which, whatever. But, they're running out of career left. There's not many games left there. I mean, I think we're going to see a motivated and focused Iowa State team this weekend.
I hope so.
I do too. If they look flat again, I'm gonna be upset.
We probably can't give up 31 in the first half to Oklahoma. Gotta be honest.
Probably not. I will say though, Tech's defense is probably not much different than Oklahoma's. And Texas Tech at least has a running game that they can fall back on. Yeah. But not saying Texas Tech is a better team than Oklahoma, but
Yeah, I'll say it.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, no, I think I really do think we're going to see a focused, motivated Iowa State team this weekend. There's no reason to believe that they would just fall over and just try to just mail in the rest of the season. That's not how this program operates. Bowl projection, Liberty Bowl. Well, potentially, because I don't think unless they get some help, I don't see Oklahoma State being able to climb up as a conference champion, and Oklahoma's not getting in.
Oklahoma State is just not in the college football playoff race, and I don't get it.
I think it's because I don't know exactly why.
They ought to be top 6.
If they beat OU, I think they're going to jump. If they finish 11-1 and then win a conference title, I think they've got a good shot at it. The problem is that
no one's really talking about it.
And the problem, though, is that they've got to, I mean, Oregon is going to have to lose, or Ohio State is going to have to lose. Like, someone's going to have to lose, because that top four seems really solid.
And
Now, Oregon does have to play Utah 2 weeks in a row, so that's tricky. So Oregon could lose, but if Oregon loses, who's right there at number 5? Undefeated Cincinnati.
Yeah, here's one. Undefeated Cincinnati or one-loss Oklahoma State team who won the Big 12.
I think they're gonna. I think in that situation, I would hate to say it, but I think they might give Oklahoma State the nod. But I mean, it'd be complete and total bullshit. But like,
right.
But they might give Oklahoma State the nod in that situation. But
what do you expect from Gary Barta?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he even just said this weekend, like, don't worry about watching the games. Look at the stats or whatever, and that's why Michigan was ahead of Michigan State or something like that. And it's like,
too, the College Football Playoff Committee can say whatever they want and just have no reason for backing it.
Absolutely, there's no reason. They don't have to justify anything to anybody. Yeah. They answer to nobody. They don't even answer to God. They make their own rules. They do whatever they want, and it doesn't matter. They can change the rules every year if they want. And they did. They used to say, the Big 12 didn't have a conference title game or whatever. Well, then they got a conference title game, and it's like, I don't know. They change the rules, and they can change them anytime they want. It's, I don't know. It was, that whole situation's dumb. I think if Oregon loses, I think you have to put Cincinnati in. Assuming that, I think does the A10, does the American have a conference title game? I don't know if they do or not.
Let me look it up real quick. But they're kind of getting screwed off SMU and Houston getting 0
because they're not getting it, because SMU and Houston are not in the rankings. So like they could have 3 ranked wins, but now they have 1. So there's yes, Coco. Hi, how are you? Do you have any thoughts on the college football playoff, Coco? Can I help you? All right.
Okay, there is a championship game for the AAC.
There is one for the American Athletic. Okay. So
they'll probably end up playing Houston or SMU for a second time.
Right. And neither of them will still be ranked.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to understand how the college football playoff committee works. But I know, however it's going to happen, either Oklahoma State or Cincinnati is going to get screwed. One of those two. And that's just how it's going to work, and you're just going to have to live with it.
And I really hope it's Cincinnati.
You hope Cincinnati gets screwed?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I like Okie State. They're good.
Well, I like them too, but I do have a little bit of a soft spot for Cincinnati because I lived there for a little while, and I have a cousin that went there.
Wait, did you ever get Skyline Chili?
I did. I love Skyline Chili.
Really?
I love it.
Hot take.
It kind of depends. You either love it or you hate it. I love Skyline Chili. I ate there a few times a week. It was great. I love Skyline Chili, and
that was great for you.
Oh, it was probably terrible. Spaghetti and chili and cheese. I mean, it's luckily I was walking around and exercising quite a bit at the time, so it didn't necessarily make that big a difference. But and I was like 25 or 6 or something. I was 25 or 24 or whatever. So I still was young and moving around.
Right. It's not that I'm rooting against Cincinnati.
Sure.
I do like them. I think.
Whenever Iowa State plays at Cincinnati, I will be making the road trip. Put it that way.
It's probably not how far of a drive is that?
Like 12 hours. From you guys, it'd be like 13 or 14. Probably closer to 14. But yeah, no, I like them both. So like I'm not like rooting for either of them to get screwed. But one or both of them will get screwed.
Right.
That's just how it's going to work, and you're just going to have to live with it.
The way the world works.
Yep, that is exactly how this world works. This big stupid world. John thinks a 2-loss Alabama team could still make the playoffs.
Why they're going to get screwed.
That could be why they get screwed, because Alabama could lose to Georgia in that SEC title game, and still make it in.
They would, if Alabama and Georgia are 1-2,
and Alabama plays them close.
Alabama plays them close. They're going to move Alabama down to 3, so they don't have a rematch the next week, just to get a rematch in the national championship game.
Yep.
The way the world works.
That's what's going to happen. Because I've seen this dumb thing too, where it's like, I think it was like Heather Dinich or something like that tweeted out, or saying it's like, this is really about finding. It's about finding the best team. And Joey Galloway, boy, if there's a person in this world that, like, if there's a national media person in the world that has worse takes than Joey Galloway, I want to know who it is, because just the worst. But like, both of them have said, like, it's about finding the better team or whatever. It's like, if Alabama loses 2 games and Cincinnati is undefeated, but you put them on the football field, who do you think the better team is, or whatever? It's trying to imply that Alabama would still win that game, right. And they may, but Cincinnati's undefeated. Yeah. Alabama has 2 losses. Like, you get, like, 2 good losses is sometimes more valuable than 2 good wins. Right. and that's where that's where the committee has logicked their way into, is that 2 good losses can be better than 2 good wins. If you lost, right now, Alabama losing to Georgia close in the SEC title game will be more valuable than Cincinnati kicking the shit out of Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That is where the playoff selections work. Is right now, is that it is better for Alabama to lose close to Georgia than for Cincinnati to kick the shit out of Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That is where we're at, and that is this big stupid world that we live in, and here we are. So it's fantastic.
I hate it here.
I hate it here. I'm going to hate it so much more if Iowa State is ever in that position to be screwed. I'm going to be very upset. Especially because it'll be in the new Big 12, and they're going to be like, you're playing in the Big 12. Yeah. It's gonna, like, can't wait for those conversations. But anyways, so let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Do we have anything else to talk about with the Oklahoma game this weekend? Well, we should talk about hoops. I thought you were saying something different there, but we are talking about hoops. Anyways, hoops. Iowa State basketball is fun again.
Yeah.
It's good.
Very fun.
They're very fun. They suck ass at shooting the basketball, but I don't even care. Like,
damn it. Yeah.
I love it, man. I've never had more fun watching a team brick the shit out of every single thing they should throw up at the rim. I've never had more fun.
At games, I like sitting on the side where the defense is.
Right.
I don't really care about the offense. I'm like, oh, we missed a shot. Let's play defense.
Let's play D. Yeah. Like, they're chasing rebounds down. Kuntz has taken like 100 charges up to, like, he took 3 charges last game or whatever, and he's taking a few more. Like he's taking charges all over the place. Guys are diving for loose balls all over the place. Isaiah Brockington is Dustin Hogue reborn. Like, it's phenomenal.
His rebound over 2 guys last night.
Oh, it was ridiculous. And that whole play.
Plays I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing. Down there, and then you hit Tyrese Hunter that's going down there and just gets an and one dunk. Pfft. Yes, please.
Did you hear Tyrese Hunter's post-game interview about that? He said that he saw Brockington get a dunk and yelled at the crowd, and he's like, oh, that'd be cool if I got one. That just happened.
There you go. Man, I love that. The team is so much fun to play, and you can tell though when you can see when they're playing though that they're going to get better on offense. They are. Right. Tyrese Hunter is going to get more comfortable. Isaiah Brockington is going to get there. Gabe Kalsher can clearly score. Like, they've got guys. They do have guys that can put the ball in the hoop, and I think it's a matter of time. Like, there's going to be one game in the Big 12 where the defense is really good, the rebounding is good, they're chasing shit down, and just one game, shots are just falling.
Yeah.
And it's gonna happen sometime, and it's gonna like they're gonna catch somebody at some point. They are.
And me and my friends were talking. Would you rather have Fred Hoiberg's style team or this style team? And I think that this style team might win us a couple more games than a Fred Hoiberg style team. Team, we can afford off shooting nights because honestly, we haven't.
They're all going to be off shooting nights. Every single night is going to be an off shooting night until one of them is a normal shooting night, and then we score 150 points. Like,
if they don't score, they don't win.
Right.
And
if they score, and this team is going to be, if they do score, they're going to win. Like, right. Yeah. Like, they're not like Virginia, but they're just fun. They're just like, it's just like, most of this game is just pure chaos. Yeah. Like, it's just the balls bouncing everywhere. Like, people are.
West Virginia might take 4 hours.
Oh my God! Like that game may take 4 hours. That is 100% accurate.
The poor souls that have to play after Iowa State versus West Virginia this year.
But that's going to be a wildly entertaining game. That's going to be phenomenal. or whatever. Like Iowa State may not win a ton of games, but they're gonna look like they're having fun doing it, man. I'm willing to come out and say it right now. This is the best defensive team Iowa State has had since I don't know, Wayne Morgan or earlier. Yeah. I know, definitely before Fred. I don't remember Greg McDermott's teams being particularly good defensively. I mean, they were fine, but they weren't great. Right. And Wayne Morgan's teams did have some good defenses, and then back to Eustachy, who did have a really good defense. But like, it's at least back to Wayne Morgan good, if not earlier. But I have not seen a team hustle like this team does, make hustle plays like this team does in a long time.
Diving for loose balls,
taking charges. Yeah. It's great. Like, I love this basketball team. Like I've never had more fun cheering for a team that's going to lose like 20 games.
They might not win many games, but it's going to be fun when they do.
100%. Like, it's going to be phenomenal when they do.
When they have one.
Like, they're going to go down to Allen Fieldhouse and something's just going to click, and they're going to start making shots, and it's going to be, and we're just going to take it down Kansas and Allen Fieldhouse, and it's going to be great. And I'm having fun watching, like, you know, like last season, like there was a bunch of times where someone's like, you guys were like starting talking in the Slack chat about the game, and I was like, oh shit, there's a basketball game on.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of us that checked out last year. They're like, I don't care about this.
Our excitement might have something to do with last year. Just
100%, yes.
When our lows were that low, our highs are a lot.
Yeah, the highs, yeah. But like, I know I'd checked out by January. I had checked out on that basketball team last year. Like, it's like, if they don't care, why should I care? They clearly didn't give a shit. But these guys love playing for TJ Otzelberger.
I think
love
Dr.
it.
Zofferson wrote an article for Cycling Fanatic. He's back in the Iowa State universe, by the way.
Awesome. That's great. Outstanding. Yes.
He made a big point. These guys love playing for TJ.
Absolutely, they do. Yeah, and I'll be honest. I'll fully admit that I was wrong. I don't know if I ever even actually like publicly said kind of my stance on the whole thing, but like, I initially was not super high on TJ. Like, I kind of thought it was a bit of a mail-in coaching hire. Like, well, they just went with the easy one or whatever, and just whatever. We're just gonna figure it out. I'm all in now. Like, I'm like, because in that preseason he was talking about, we're gonna play hard, we're gonna play defense. Like, yeah, whatever. Okay, that's what every coach says.
But we're playing defense. And we're rebounding.
And we're doing it. Yeah. We're doing all the shit he said he's gonna do. Like, I love having coaches all over this program, all over this athletic department. Matt Campbell, Bill Fennelly, TJ Otzelberger, Kevin Dresser. That when they say they're gonna do something, they can do it. They do it. Like, the teams actually do what they say they're gonna do, and it's great. I like no bullshit platitudes, nothing.
Kyle Green is a phenomenal defensive coach.
Absolutely, he is.
I don't know if you know much about him. He was at UNI forever.
He was at UNI, yeah. UNI was always a really good defensive team.
I have a fun story about him.
I would love to hear it.
In high school, I did a job shadow with the UNI basketball team, and so I talked to Ben Jacobson for like a whole day. It was awesome. Great.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds awesome.
It was phenomenal, and I got to talk with Kyle Green for a little bit, and this would have been January 2020. And he was still at UNI, and he asked me, "Where are you going to college?" I said, "Iowa State." He said, "Oh, community college." Nice.
Nice.
It's funny. That's kind of come full circle now.
Yeah. No, that's funny. My mom went to UNI too, so I kind of have, just like everybody in the state. Everyone has kind of a soft spot for UNI too. Yeah. So it's like nobody hates UNI.
Speaking of, they're about to lose to Arkansas.
Are they?
Yeah.
Is it like close game or no?
91-80 with 38 seconds left.
Arkansas is supposed to be pretty good though, aren't they?
Yeah, Eric Musselman is a really good coach.
Yeah, I was thinking they were kind of projected like top 15, top 10 type of team.
I think they're 16th right now.
16th, yeah. So yeah, pretty close. Yeah, no, I'm gladly renewed. My faith in Iowa State basketball is renewed, and I'm now excited again for this program, which is...
I definitely was not on board with Otz at first.
I wasn't either, yeah.
As soon as he did his introductory press conference, I don't know if it was just for me, but he said all the right things.
And he 100%. I definitely warmed up to him. I warmed up to him and said, okay, this has a shot. And then, like, if they proved it, if they did what he said he was going to do, I'm in. And sure as shit, they did it. They're doing it right now, and it's fucking awesome. Like, they're having fun being this like scrappy bunch of tryhards, and it's awesome. Like it's the best.
It makes me even happy for our newest bad kick athlete, George Condit.
Absolutely, yeah. George Condit. Do you have like can we pull up his shirt so people can see it? It's an awesome shirt.
Oh yeah, I'll pull her up.
Let's pull her up. So if anyone didn't see George Condit, we did an NIL shirt with him through Bad Kick Apparel, and he got it up there. We did it out there today. There's actually a discount code out for it if anybody wants it. Whenever we can get pulled up here, you can type in Bad Kick Athlete, all one word, at checkout to get a 10% discount on your purchase. And I believe it should apply to your entire card. So if you do get like George Condit and Sammy Williams and Rory Walling, you get all the. There you go. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. It's great. It's a great shirt.
And, to go back to the point on George specifically.
Yeah.
He's a guy that was here for all our most recent success and stuff last year and the year before that wasn't very fun, and
right.
He's out there still having fun in the Cyclone uniform.
He looks like he's having more fun than he ever has.
Yeah,
and I would guess he would probably back that up. Like
absolutely.
I mean,
yeah, I've been able to talk to him just through making that shirt, and he loves Iowa State.
Oh no! His whole personality and his whole thing is infectious to watch. I mean, him and Tyrese Halliburton and stuff like that. Where I mean, you can just tell those dudes just love Iowa State.
Like I see George Condit at football games quite a bit. And he's leading chants in the student section, trying to start.
Well, when we rushed against Oklahoma State, he was like the first dude on the field. Like you watch the video, and it's like George Condit's in the middle of the field before everybody else.
Yeah,
like that dude.
Love Iowa State basketball. He loves Iowa State.
That dude loves Iowa State. Like it's great. I love seeing guys like that support the others. That support other sports and stuff like that, but that love Iowa State, love the whole thing.
And that's why it's fun to see him succeed.
And you saw that under Hoiberg with like George Yang and Monte Morris and Jamil McKay. They were always at games. All Naz Long. They were all Mitru Long, I should say. They were all at every football game and all that. And like it was like you could tell they just loved being there. Anthony Booker was. You could always see him there too. And those were always fun to see. I always love seeing those. Seeing that kind of stuff, going the crossover there. And when you go to a basketball game, you can see lots of football players and softball players and whoever else. They go to basketball games and everything like that too. And even actually, I've been did some gymnastics meets and volleyball. There's football players and basketball players. Everybody at volleyball, wrestling meets, tennis matches. They go to each other's sports. They absolutely do.
And it's nice. I think we have a good group of coaches where
I agree.
They supporting others, and that's kind of infectious with the athletes, which is always good to see.
100%. I agree. I could not be happier right now with the state of Iowa State athletics. It's like every day is a good day to be a Cyclone, but it is right now. It's a really good time to be a Cyclone.
Some days are just better than others.
Yeah, some days are just better than others, and right now we're having a lot of those days. Last Saturday was just one of those days where it hurts a little bit, but it's like one of those hurts things where you're like having a fun time playing catch in the backyard with your friends or something like that, and you just kind of like tweak your hammy or something like that. It's like one of those things. Like I'm still having fun, but it kind of hurts.
I think it's more of that scene from Happy Gilmore when he gets in the batting cage.
Oh yeah, he's like, "You gotta get ready for next season."
That one hurt a little, but I'm all right.
That's exactly what it is. It's Iowa State fans just sitting in the batting cage, just taking baseballs to the face over and over and over. And but we're getting better. We're getting ready for next season. So, I don't know. I'm pretty. Like I said, the football team season maybe hasn't gone as well as we hope, and last Saturday hurt. But I'm still optimistic. I still love this team. I still love the fight in them. And right now, I've been kind of working on it. I was originally going to put it out this week, but I think I'm going to wait till this weekend because technically there is still a chance that Iowa State could get into the Big 12 title game, and my article would not age well if that came to fruition.
I would hate you to get old takes exposed on that one.
Right? Yeah, I don't. Well, it wouldn't be like an old take exposed, but it would be kind of like, oh, he gave up early kind of thing. Like, but it was more just like, but it was just the general idea though that there's 2 games left in the regular season. There's a bowl game, and there's a lot of guys that are not coming back. A lot. There's a lot of guys that actually still can. Like Brock Purdy still can come back. Breece Hall can still come back. Xavier Hutchinson can come back. Charlie Kolar can come back. There's a bunch of guys that can come back. Mike Rose is one of those. I don't know if Orion Vance can. I think Orion Vance actually can. Jake Hummel cannot, but and I know Chase Allen can't. But there's a lot of guys that can come back. But I don't have any intel whatsoever on this. But I would assume most of them will probably elect to move on.
Right.
And if that's true, I mean, you're losing a group of guys that are, I mean, truly the best group of veterans in school history. It's not even close. I mean, like, it's Brock Purdy and Breece Hall and Xavier Hutchinson and Charlie Kolar and Chase Allen and Colin Newell and Mike Rose, Orion Vance, Jake Hummel, Eniwaz Arike, Will McDonald. Like, I mean,
we're gonna look down the road 10 years from now, and this is gonna be the group that.
This is the group that changed everything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like guys like Dave Montgomery, Kyle Kemp.
Yeah, they paved they paved the road. Yeah. But these guys walked down the road. These guys did it. Yeah.
So someday, if Matt Campbell ever starts to care about championships, we'll look back on this.
Matt Campbell ever starts to care about championships. Oh, Joe Lanning, yeah. Joe Lanning, absolutely, yep. But yeah, I mean, those guys, the Dave Montgomery, Marchie Murdoch, Alan Lazard, those guys, they really they gave it that initial push that you need to create that change. But this class right here, Mike Rose and all these guys, they really paved the way to set a new, truly set a new standard. They lived it. They truly did set a new standard for Iowa State football. You know, when after the 2017 season, when Kyle Campton and Marchie and those, well, I guess Kyle was there for the 2018 season, but you know, when that 2017 senior class or whatever, they kind of unlocked the door, and they set a new standard kind of, but I think people were still a little bit like, is this real? Like it was just a one freak season kind of thing. Like they didn't know if it was real.
Dare we say they raised the standard?
That's where I was kind of going with this. Is that that class, the 2017 class, really kind of unlocked the door to kind of get that going. But this senior class, this group of veterans right here, that has played a billion snaps for Iowa State, like this is the one that truly did raise the standard to the point where people are now complaining that we might only win 8 games. Like that is what this group of veterans has done for the university and for this football program. I mean, like there's guys in there. We were talking about this too, that there's at least 5 guys that you can make a very good argument for that they are the best at their position that has ever played at Iowa State. Because we'd said Brock Purdy, Breece Hall, Charlie Kolar, Mike Rose.
Sure you want to say Breece Hall?
I absolutely want to say Breece Hall.
Yeah,
Brock, Breece, Charlie, Mike Rose, Will McDonald, and Greg Eisworth, I think and even potentially Eniwaz Arike have very solid arguments there. 5 have very good arguments. You could, like, Will McDonald and Eniwaz Arike Will McDonald might be too young, and Eniwaz Arike might be too much of a late bloomer, but like at least 5 of those you can make a very good John, yeah, he's causing trouble here. Those 5 at least, you have a very good argument that they are the best. That they're the best to ever play that position. I think Brock Purdy, Charlie Kolar, and Mike Rose. Let me not Mike Rose. Brock Purdy and Charlie Kolar, I think, are inarguably the best to ever play their position. Breece Hall, he's really only contending with Troy Davis. I think Breece Hall. I would take Breece Hall on my team over Troy Davis any day of the week. Mike Rose, the main competition for Mike Rose would be Matt Blair. Or Chris Washington was another one. A couple older guys. But I don't know. Probably would still take Mike Rose there. Greg Eisworth has a little bit of competition, but not a lot at safety. I mean, Greg Eisworth is up there. He played just a ton of snaps, played a ton of really good football for Iowa State. And then you got Eniwaz Arike. You know, he was kind of a little bit of a late bloomer, but I mean, the season he's having right now is truly unbelievable. He's having a ridiculous season right now. Like the most dominant. Number 28 is the best. There you go. That's the best way to describe it. Number 28 is the best Iowa State running back ever. The 2 best are definitely number 28, and then it's everybody else after that. I can 100% get on board with that. But then Eni Wazirike has had he's been dominant. Truly, he has been a dominant defensive lineman this season. Not just a defensive tackle, but also playing out on the edge. He's been dominant, and I can't think of another like defensive tackle that you would probably categorize him as. I can't think of one that's had as dominant of a season as Eni Wazirike has had. But then you have Will McDonald, all-time sack leader,
right?
Absolutely ridiculous pass rush artist. I mean, I can't think of. I mean, like there's other guys that you can think of that are good. Like Jason Berryman was really good, and Jaquan Bailey and stuff. But like, in my mind, like Jason Berryman and Jaquan Bailey were not Will McDonald good. But you could argue though he still has 2 years he can technically play. So like, I mean, you could say his career hasn't played long enough yet to be there, but like. The stats all say he's there, and if he does decide to come back for one more year, there won't even be any question. He'll have distanced himself from the pack as far as best pass rushers of all time at Iowa State. So I mean, but how often can you say that at least 5, maybe 7 or 8 people on the team are the best to ever play their position at that school, and they're all on the same team at the same time? I mean, like 2001 Miami, maybe, but like, how often does that actually happen? Like, basically never in any sport where you have that many best ever at their position on one team.
Whether that means Iowa State suffered through a century of suck or not,
it does. But like, I mean, that's part of it. That's part of the equation. But like, Charlie Kohler's an All-American, Brace Hall's an All-American, Brock Purdy's All Big 12, all that good shit. Or whatever. Greg Eisworth is all Big 12. Mike Rose is an All-American. I mean, like, these guys have legit national honors to back up how good they are. Mm-hmm. And this is an opportunity the last 2 to 3 games, well, definitely the last 3 to 4 games technically, that you can sit back and appreciate what Iowa State has right now. Because there's a good chance that we might lose most or all of it after this season. Maybe like maybe a Will McDonald or a Xavier Hutchinson comes back to get more tape or something like that. But like, a lot of these guys will be moving on, and this is a time to sit back and watch the most legendary group of veterans that Iowa State football has ever seen. I mean, we can sit back and watch now. I mean, Brock Purdy's had a great season so far. This may be the last 3 to 4 games we ever see Brock Purdy don an Iowa State uniform.
Sad.
I mean. I can't believe I'm saying that because of how long he's played at Iowa State, and technically speaking, he could come back for 2022. I don't know if I don't
say that Brock Purdy is in his 6th year.
He's not. He's in his 4th year.
He's actually a true senior.
He's a true senior. Yeah, he could take theoretically if he if he came back for next year and got hurt after a few games, they could give him his red shirt finally, and then he could come back for a COVID year in 2024. Or 2023. He could theoretically play till 2023, which I really don't think he's gonna, but who knows? Maybe he doesn't want to leave college. But
he's not Jordan Bohannon.
Yeah, he's not Jordan Bohannon.
That's to move on with his life.
Yeah, like Brock Purdy may have a professional career in his sport beyond, college.
Real estate agent.
Or at least in this country anyways. Like, or in like I'm assuming Jordan will get like an opportunity in like Belarus or something like that, or Moldova. But I played GeoGuessr. I can name all sorts of random little countries. We can go all day. Eritrea. But anyways, he this is an opportunity not only to watch them try to win games and potentially backdoor their way into a Big 12 title game, right, but this is your opportunity to watch living Cyclone legends, not just living, but playing Cyclone legends, or whatever, on the football field one more time, or 2 more times, 3 more times, 4 more times, whatever it is.
One more time on Jack Trice.
One more time at Jack Trice, for sure. This is your opportunity to watch them. You should watch them and appreciate what we're watching. That's not to say that better players can't come along, but this collection of all-time talent, we may never see this type of collection of all-time talent ever again. And it's worth appreciating, it's worth watching, and it's worth being invested in.
And let's not worry about next year either.
Also that
Just right now. That's all we can do.
right now, just like Matt Campbell would tell you, we still got football games to win this. We got a football game to win this weekend. We still got football games to win this year.
I can't
That's where it's
decide
at.
whether I want to cry or run through a brick wall right now, but
I'm going to run through a brick wall in tears. I'm going to cry and just punch through a brick wall while I'm bawling the whole way through. It's going to be terrible. Senior day is going to be emotional. I know it. I know it's going to be. Like there's going to be a lot of people that are like really.
I mean, I'll be honest. I cried when we took the field against UNI this year.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. For the first football game and being able the first football game you can go to in 2 seasons. Oh, 100%. Like I was tearing up the first touchdown, the first kickoff, all that. I was like, oh, like, yeah.
It's a lot to handle.
Yeah, it is. It's a very emotional to handle. And now we're getting ready to see, just like we never thought we'd see George Niang's senior day.
Right.
Like, I never thought we'd see Brock Purdy's senior day. And we are a week and a half away from it.
God, can you imagine if they did the same thing that they do for basketball? Like seniors give.
Or have them make speeches. Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they do have Brock make a speech. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Brock and Mike Rose, especially, it wouldn't surprise me at all if those two guys made a speech. But yeah, there's a lot to watch the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Most notably, Iowa State still has a chance to play for a Big 12 title. And then I was thinking backdoor their way into a Big 12 title game and fucking win it and go to the Sugar Bowl, and then we're all going to be looking around as like, boy, they did pretty good for not giving a shit about winning football games. Oh yeah, like guess Matt Campbell doesn't give a shit about this Big 12 title, whatever. But you know, even if that doesn't happen, I'm still looking forward to the last few games. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward. I'll be there tailgating for the TCU game, fervent as ever. It's going to be great.
Should we get us some picks?
Let's do it. Let's do some picks. I know we got a little bit of a skeleton crew, so it might be kind of hard to do like Aiden versus the 90s and the old heads, new trends, but we can definitely do Cubs Corner.
I don't know if you heard.
I'm going to fade the shit out of you on this.
There's a new leader.
Oh.
And it's not close, folks.
Holy cow. Yeah. It's not ideal.
No longer fading Wyatt out here. All right. I've had back-to-back 3-1 weeks. So don't let me get hot.
All right.
Starting off with Kansas plus 21 at TCU.
Okay.
Obviously Kansas coming off a win over Texas, which was hilarious and awesome at the same time.
Phenomenal, yes. Nice detail on the horns down there. I like the detail on that.
I accidentally did that.
Oh my gosh. How did that end up? How did that get there?
And honestly, Kansas isn't playing that bad of football right now.
No.
And TCU doesn't have any scholarship running backs left, so
correct. That's where I was going to go with this. They got, and I think their starting quarterback, not Duggan, but the other, I can't think of his name. It's not Downing because he transferred. What the hell is that? What the hell is their new quarterback's name?
I honestly have no idea.
I don't. But he's also hurt though. They had the quarterback's hurt. They have no scholarship running backs left. Like, and TCU is like they don't have a football coach.
It's Jerry Kill.
It's Jerry Kill. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's only known for eating ice cream on sideline and having heart attacks and stuff.
Seizure. I thought it was seizures.
Was it a seizure?
Was it a heart attack? I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, continue.
Also, one more thing. Lance Leipold might be a dude.
He's a good coach. He's a good coach.
Really coach.
I think Kansas is going to be competent here pretty quick.
Yeah, which sucks, but
yeah, it does suck. The Big 12 might be an accidental meat grinder in football going forward. like if Texas Tech, which look like Donovan Smith looks like a good quarterback, they might be getting their shit together. Kansas might be getting their shit together. Who in that conference is bad? Like right. There's like in the new conference, there ain't a bad team in the bunch. Like if Kansas gets their shit together, there ain't a bad team in that conference. It's gonna be a fucking meat grinder, just like basketball.
I'll never know the grind of the Big 12 conference.
Oh my God.
It means more.
It does mean more.
All right.
Anyways, continue.
Texas is falling apart at the seams, and so I'm taking West Virginia because
stuff.
Sucks.
Yeah, reasons. Yes.
Reasons. And I actually forgot to update that over-under. That's actually supposed to be 58.5. So
58. I was going to say 72.5 feels a little steep. Like, I don't know if I'd go that high, but
forgot to change that, but that's 58.5.
see, I'd be pounding the under at 72.5.
Yeah. Alabama scores 1 million points every game, and Arkansas doesn't play much defense, so
Fair enough.
that's what I
The
guess
SEC, they play more defense.
it means more.
It means more. All right. So I'm actually going to take you on that Kansas 20 plus 21 there. Like you said, Kansas is playing decent football right now. TCU's got nothing left right now. Like they've darn near mailed that season in. I mean, they're out of the Big 12 title race. They've got no running backs left. The defense hasn't been that good. They're on an injured backup quarterback. I mean, they're kind of mailing in this season. Where Kansas is like, screw it, we're going to go in here and we're just going to create as much chaos as possible. So I love the. I'll take Kansas on the 21 points there. I think I'll also take West Virginia on that money line. The defense looks pretty decent. They can move the ball a little bit. Texas sucks. Bijan Robinson's done for the season. They got nothing. That Texas football is broken. It's 100% broken. If it wasn't broken before, it is now.
Here's one for you. Does Steve Sarkisian have a job at the end of the season?
Yes, they're not going to fire him after 1 year. After next season, probably not. This season, yeah, they'll keep him for more than 1 year.
You think?
Yeah, I think they will. Especially because he publicly said that there may be 33 new players on the roster next year. Essentially saying publicly that he's going to just ixnay.
Yeah.
He's just gonna go through and just get rid of a ton of people, whatever. So. And I told this. I went on a Texas podcast that week. I went on Will Bazer's podcast or whatever. And he actually asked me. He's like, I can't believe he actually asked me this question. If you asked me, if you told me that this question was being asked 10 years ago, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? But he asked me. He said from an Iowa State fan's perspective, when we've seen a program built the right way and we've seen a program kind of built from the ground up and being successful and being consistent. What advice do you have for Texas fans on how to approach this situation where we try to rebuild Texas football? Which is a totally bonkers question on its own or whatever. But I get it though. I get it though. And I told him, I was like, the difference is that Iowa State has the 5-star culture, not the 5-star talent. And Texas has the 5-star talent, not the 5-star culture. And if you look at what program has a 5-star culture and 5-star talent, that's Alabama and Georgia or whatever. Like that's those teams. And even like a Clemson or something like that. You know, who has their shit together and who has really good people, it's those teams. If you want to get to the point where you are one of those teams, because Texas thinks they are one of those teams, or they should be one of those teams, and you can't get there without that culture part of it. So you have to be willing to go through growing pains, and you have to be willing to have consistency and to keep a coaching staff around for more than one fucking season or whatever. You have to be willing to let this thing play out and let it work and let a culture develop instead of just being like, oh, they didn't win this very specific game, torch the whole thing. Like that's not what anybody does.
Another result-driven program.
Texas.
And
they're doing super good.
Yeah. I've seen some Texas fans saying that they want Tom Herman back, so that's where they're at right now.
Whoo, that's something. That's how you know you're broken, is when you want your old coach that you fired back.
Yeah.
Big yikes. All right.
On the subject of Texas, something very funny happened that I didn't expect to happen at the Texas game when we played them a couple weeks ago.
What was that?
In the student section, we were yelling at all the coaches, pull assassin and all that. One of their coaches looked at us and laughed and said, "You got the wrong guy," and then pointed at the guy who it was.
Nice.
Which I thought was hilarious.
Nice. Let's see. Arkansas, what'd you say it was, point total?
58.5.
58.5. Yeah, actually, I'll take the over on that. For the same reasons that you said. And I'm going to take Michigan State plus 19 against Ohio State. I think they did, Michigan State does have a loss now, but I think they're a team that, like, Ohio State's playing really good. I understand that. And that's why they're plus 19, because Ohio State is stupid good. But I think Michigan State will keep this closer than that. I think they'll cover nearly 3 touchdowns. I don't see them getting blown out by that much. Looks like
Yeah.
Josh took Baylor. Interesting enough, because Baylor's favored, but I think I saw it was on Parker's on Stats Award in his like analytical thing. He actually has Kansas State winning that game. Interestingly enough, and I believe that is Skylar Thompson's last game at Kansas State. So yeah, that'd be interesting. I hope Kansas State loses, but I also kind of want Baylor to lose because I want Kansas State to win out.
That's what the biz call a crater game.
Absolutely,
You know what that is, Levi?
you cheer for the meteor.
You cheer for a crater to open.
Yeah, for the Dark Knight, for the Dark Knight field to fall through. Yeah, I get that. And then Matthias is taking Iowa State to cover this weekend. I don't know if he's taking us to win, but he's taking us to cover. He's 3-1 in the last 4 times he's done it. So yeah. So it's worked for him for the most part. Kind of, except for the last weekend, not covering that put him under 500, but
yeah,
it happens. So yeah, interesting betting there.
Oh, yeah.
I like that we both took Kansas to cover though. That's kind of funny.
I almost took the money line. Gonna be honest, I was really close.
It's tempting. Like I just think Kansas is bad enough.
It's like Kansas and TCU are at such different levels right now,
Right, 100%.
and TCU is kind of on the downfall as of late. Things are kind of falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Yep. It's not a good situation. Like there's only like a couple teams in the Big 12 that aren't kind of like falling apart right now. like
Funny enough,
like
the two that are most falling apart, leaving for the SEC.
yeah. Oklahoma's going to go full panic mode if they lose this week. If we beat them this weekend, they are going to.
They might want to fire Lincoln Riley. And I'm not saying Oklahoma. The fans will want to fire.
The fans will want to fire Lincoln Riley. Yes, they will. 100%. No question. Maybe not any reasonable ones, but there will be fans that want to fire Lincoln. There was ones that wanted to fire Lincoln Riley after last weekend or whatever. And I don't know. Whatever. It's going to be something. I don't know. I think Iowa State's going to look good this weekend. I think we'll see. I think you'll see a motivated team that's going to fight hard. I think they're going to be like they're going to kind of pull a TJ Otzelberger. They're going to play really good, intense defense, kind of fumble their ass around on offense for a little while, and maybe figure it out and hit a deep shot here and there and call it good.
Works for me.
Done. We got anything else left we want to do this week?
Want to do games?
Do we want to? I don't know. We don't have our normal crew here. I feel like it would be a little empty without everybody else.
Yeah, true.
We'll just save it for next week. We should have a full crew back next week because next week we're going to be back on Tuesday, correct?
Yes.
Next week, back to our normal Tuesdays. Matthias will be here. Josh will be here. We'll have our full crew. It'll be great. Back to a normal full show. And you don't have to see me and Nathan just here babble our asses off for almost an hour and a half now. So yeah. So everybody ready to wrap it up for this week, Aiden?
Yep.
All right, let's sign us off.
All right. For Levi Stevenson, Aiden Wyatt, hope you enjoy the nightcap. Go Cyclones.